In this video, I'll show you how to do an Anova test. So in this problem, we're trying to see what's the best way to learn Spanish. Scores on a first quiz for 8th grade students in an introductory class were collected, and the instructor grouped the students in the course according to whether or not they had never studied foreign language before but had good English skills, or group 2 never studied foreign language before and had poor English skills, or 3 studied at least one other foreign language. And so the sample quiz scores are given to us in this problem. So the appropriate test to think about in this situation is the Anova test. And that's because we're looking to see if there's association between between a categorical variable and a quantitative variable. In this problem, the groups are the categorical variable and the quantitative variable is the quiz score. Okay, so to do this test, the null hypothesis is always that the mean scores for the population for the three groups will be the same. So the population mean quiz scores for group 1 is no different than group 2, is no different than group 3. That's the same thing as to say there is no association between which group you're in and the quiz scores. The alternative hypothesis is that there is association between the group that you're in and your quiz score. Another way to say that is that at least 2 of the population means differ. Okay, so again, we're going to run the hypothesis test with Anova, and you don't have to do any of the calculations by hand. Just go into StatCrunch and click on Stat, and then Anova, and then One Way, and enter your data and run the test. I have screenshots in the lesson 12 notes that show you how to do this. So if you run that test, here's the output that you should get. And like I mentioned, the test statistic for Anova is the F test statistic, and so that's right here. So it looks different, but it's similar to what a z-score tells you, what the one proportion test, or what the t-test statistic told you, or the chi-squared. It's just a new test statistic. And the corresponding p-value is 13%. And as we know by this point, a p-value of 13% is very large. We're talking about p-values. So at the 10% level, we would not reject the null hypothesis. So do not reject H naught. And this means that we cannot prove that there's evidence between the group that the students are in and their mean scores on the first quiz. Okay, so that concludes an Anova test.